And welcome back to the Japan Game Junk podcast. Today, we're going to be back in Yokohama for another hard off. This is a hard off, odd off house, in Yokohama. This is the Yokohama Nagatsuda store, which is, as it was visited on August the 25th of 2024. The first thing I noticed that was very interesting was a Zap disc card for the Famicom disk system. This is a writable disc, where if you have the right hardware, you can just write your own software to the disk. It can be your pirated software, or it could be your purchased software, or it could be perhaps your own software you made yourself to play on the Famicom disk system. And yeah, one blank disk, I should say, 2,000 yen. For 5,000 yen, again, these are always a crapshoot, a blank labeled BS memory card, so the Nintendo Satellaview satellite Super Famicom system, where you could download games onto this machine, onto your machine, and these random BS memory units are now kind of flying around there. There are some games that are very rare that were only available for download at certain points that might have even been copied over at some point, but these random memory units, some of them may in fact have these rare games which are not yet in the online community, which need to be backed up and saved for prosperity, I don't know, but saved forever, so they're not lost forever. This one though was 5,000 yen, and again, without the Satellaview cartridge adapter, and without, I do have a way where I could back up these games on my on a couple of my clone systems, if in fact I were to know what's on them, but 5,000 yen is a lot to pay just to try to guess and hope it's okay. Also, a Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, the US version, which it's one of my favorite Game Boy Color games. I got it new when it was $30, and I played the heck out of it, and it was sold here cartridge only for 7,000 yen, which, not too much more than would have cost new, although it is cartridge only. But yeah. Also, they had the newest Zelda Tears of the Kingdom for 4,000 yen. Game card only, pretty cheap, I think. Dragon's Wild, a Neo Geo Pocket game, which is a slot game, 1,000 yen. And it's not the rarest game, so if you don't have it, then yeah, there you go. The Manies. I don't know what it's about, but it's a 3,000 yen MSX game I've never seen before. Manies, not mayonnaise. Pop Flamer for the SG-1000/SC-3000 for the Sega system there. 1,800 yen. Kind of a cheap price for that. Populous for the Mega Drive was 1,000 yen. This actually was one I ended up getting because I didn't want to buy anything else on this day, and I had the coupon for 500 yen off to make it 500 yen. They also had the Hitachi High Saturn, which I still would love to have. It's my only... So the High Saturn, if you didn't know, it's made by Hitachi as opposed to the Sega hardware creation. It does everything that any other Sega Saturn, of course, could do. It is modeled differently. It's not modeled differently. It's modeled with a different color, and it has they have their own logo on everything. But this one has the video CD and photo CD adapters already installed, so that you didn't have to put the adapters into the machine already. And those adapter, slots are now free to be putting something else in there. So yeah, it's probably the best mass-produced version of the Saturn as opposed to a special edition. And I wish I had one, but I would not pay 23,000 yen for it on this day. The original Xbox One, with including the Kinect, the day one release was only 15,000 yen, and the Kinect had a very sexy animation sticker on the front, so added value there. The original Game Boy manual, just the manual in a plastic bag, 300 yen, if you wanted to have that. It had an Oculus Go, the weakest version of the Oculus VR headset. It was 6,000 yen here, and I believe it is no longer supported. It does have, I believe, you can still get the games for it, but I believe it's now 6 years old, and they don't put out new stuff for this. But still, if you just wanted to have an Oculus, then it's 6,000 yen here. Game Boy Pocket that works, but has kind of a messed up screen as they tend to these days. 3,000 yen, pink one. The Pokemon Mini player. This is a little tiny player that plays Pokemon cartoons. And you buy little chips to watch the cartoons there. This one included one cartoon chip, and it was 8,000 yen. And this is actually very cheap compared to many places right now. So grab one if you want. A very, very, very sad thing to see here. An MSX2 machine, which includes one cheap piece of software. But it said that I really want to get an MSX2. I only have the original MSX. And for this price, 12,000 yen, I was ready just to buy it. But the keyboard does not work. And some games, even though I play with controllers, some games do require keyboard presses to work. Press start to begin or whatever. And I wouldn't be able to play those games. So sadly, I did pass up on this MSX2 as I would not have the ability to repair it, even though this is the cheapest MSX2 in this visual good quality of condition I'd ever seen. For 40,000 yen was the arcade board for a Street Fighter 2 Turbo, including the inlays and everything. It was a beautiful thing. I don't know how much arcade games typically go for, but not the cabinet, but the board and the stuff you put into the cabinet was 40,000 yen. I'm guessing that's cheap. I don't know. Deus Ex for the PC, boxed and looking pretty. In the big box, the Japanese version, 800 yen. I believe I still had the US version, though. I didn't want to buy this. And as the saying goes, now just hearing about this game, maybe you'll go and install it again. I kind of now am tempted to do so, even though I cannot at this very moment. Wing Commander 2 for the FM Towns system, of course compatible with the FM Towns Marty, 2,000 yen. No manual, just the disc, but FM Towns games are kind of hard to find. This store had 8 of them, from anywhere between 2,000 yen for this and one other, all the way up to 10,000 yen. And so I guess if I ever get an FM Towns Marty, I'll go back to the store and hope to get a piece of software because they're hard to find. All right. And that's pretty much everything for this day at this store. Thanks so much for listening. And when you're in Yokohama, remember, hard off is better than the Surugaya that went very bad there. Have a wonderful day and goodbye.